Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. Today's video I'm doing is actually done by request. In one of the comments, one of my viewers has made basically they've requested that I make a little bit or provide a little bit more information about UPC codes and how you can get them. And this was on the video when I was talking about PRS for music and PPL song registration. Okay, so I finally have had the time to do my research, so I'm ready to do that video today. So let's dive into it. So I'm going to start from explaining the basics. So when you are registering those songs in those organizations like PPL and then PRS for music or any other PRO, so a performing rights organization in whichever country or territory you happen to be or you are register your compositions in, there are some specific codes, but those codes actually apply to the music. So let me start from the master. Okay, so the master is a recorded version of a song, and every master, so that's that unique version. There could be many versions, by the way, of the same song recorded multiple times, and each individual master will have a unique ISRC code. Okay, so that's the first thing, and this is how this particular version of a song is recognized internationally. The other aspect is the composition side or the songwriting side. So if you are a songwriter and you register your songs with a PRO, effectively you receive a tune code, and then you receive like a couple of other codes like ISWC for example, and those codes are basically linked with the composition side of things. So remember, there's only ever one tune code basically per one song, because there's only one composition. So for example, that song was only written once, but there could be multiple masters, the multiple recorded versions of that song, in which case there could be multiple ISRC codes. Now those codes only apply to music itself, if you like, so that you can recognize that. So for example, for broadcasting purposes, those codes are used to recognize that this particular version of a song that is linked to that particular composition has been broadcast, and also for streaming and other purposes as well. However, what they do not cover is the selling aspects or the trading aspect of that product, effectively, which that song or that single or that album is. And this is why you will not be able to obtain those codes from those performing rights organizations and those other types of organizations that deal with the sort of master recording rights, such as PPL. There's two ways of getting a UPC code or an EAN code. So let me just explain firstly what do you actually mean. So UPC stands for Universal Product Code, and EAN stands for International Article Number or European Article Number. Okay, so think about it that way. Any product that is being sold by any company around the world has a unique code, and that is also attached to a barcode normally. So if it's a physical copy of something, for example, if you go to a store and you do your shopping, you will notice that any product that you put into your basket or into your shopping trolley has a barcode, and actually what happens is, if you go to the till, that barcode is scanned, or you may be going for a self-checkout these days and you scan those barcodes, and you see what happens is in the background that's every time that product is a particular item is scanned, it goes to a computer database, and this is how these companies can actually trace how many of those types of products they've sold, or other trading or international trading organizations can actually see what the trends are. How many of this particular, I don't know, jar of coffee has been sold in this particular store today, for example, right? Over the last week, month, year, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this, think about it that way. The same principle applies to your music. So if you effectively, for example, want to have your music streamed, or want to put it up for a digital download, or want to sell some physical copies of your music in the form of CD, a vinyl, or anything like that, you, in majority of cases, will require one of these codes. However, let me just explain this, that you don't always necessarily need this, so I'm just gonna explain when you need it and when you don't need it, okay? So when it comes for going officially, so for example, if you go for a music distributor and you release your music onto streaming platforms, so in either case, whether it's for streaming or for selling digital downloads, because majority of you probably will be choosing that option, so you can sell your music on Amazon, for example, but you can also have it streamed on YouTube Music or Spotify or places like that. Yeah, in which case you will need that UPC code because it's a legal requirement. Okay, now you don't pay directly for this code, because the code will be assigned to your song or to your album, or will be assigned to your album or your single by your music distributor. Now, but think about it that way, that fee is already included in your yearly subscription, for example, that you pay to your music distributor. And why that is because that music distributor has to pay a fee, a subscription, in order to be able to have those codes generated, okay? Because they are not free of charge, and I'm going to dive into it in a minute. Now, because this only applies to your digital versions of your songs or your singles or your albums, okay? So that is going to be generated for you by your music distributor, which is absolutely fine. Now, if you, however, wanted to sell your own product, your own physical copy, for example. So if you wanted to, I don't know, go to a CD manufacturer and just ask, I don't know, I don't want to have, say, 50 or 100 CDs made, and I'm gonna sell them by myself as either at gigs, for example, directly to people face to face, or I might put them up for sales, for example, on Bandcamp or on my own website, so that people can order them and they can sell them basically and post them to people, right? Well, in this case, you may ask yourself a question, and I'm going to explain why you may want to think about whether you actually need that, because in theory, right, on this case, so for example, if you sell your CDs by yourself, you're not going through official channels, you're not going through like official sort of like a shop effectively, okay? That's what I suppose what I'm trying to explain here. You're not having this product stored somewhere in an official store or an official shop or anything like that. You might just be selling it out of your own website, like I said, or even directly at gigs, in which case you don't necessarily need that UPC code. And I think that all depends on whether you think that you're going to sell enough of these copies of that CD or that vinyl, for example, to generate enough profit for it to make economical sense for you to be paying that subscription to have that barcode generated. Because, let me just explain this, your music distributor will generate a UPC code, which you can then get, you can see the numbers, but you won't be able to have a barcode. Like, they won't give you the actual barcode that you can then kind of put onto your CD when you have it manufactured. In order to do that, you need to go through an organization called GS1, and the organization called GS1 is actually sort of internationally recognized organization that is responsible for issuing those barcodes. All right, and this is really key here. So I think I'm going to describe to you a scenario in which that may be something that you might want to do if you are an independent artist, for example. One of these scenarios might be when you are thinking of having your CDs, for example, in physical charts. So if you want to enter physical charts and you think that you might do quite well because your fan base is quite large, and actually you think, oh yeah, I'm going to sell quite a lot of copies here, and that could get me to quite a high position in those physical charts. And the reason for that is because today not that many physical copies are actually being sold. As you know, streaming has taken over, all these other things. People consume music differently these days. So even those big artists, they don't sell as many copies as they used to. So chances are, if you have a really well established fan base, in some cases you might even be able to beat those bigger artists even by selling your own physical copies of your own CD or your own album and things like that. And actually there's been some evidence of that, because I know that there's been some people who've managed to do that, and that's been done very recently as well. However, if you are not in that position right now and you don't think that you have that fan base there and you can actually sell as many of these copies, it may not make sense for you to be paying for a barcode to put on your CD, alright? Because you can still sell your CD by yourself without that barcode, right? Remember. So let me just show you how much these things cost, just so you have an idea, and also you know how to go about it. So I've got the GS1 website here, and they do actually talk about this, that barcodes are symbols that can be scanned electronically using laser or image-based technology, and they are used to encode information such as key identifiers, so that is product, shipment, location, etc., and key attributes, so serial numbers, batch/lot numbers, dates, etc. Alright, and if you wanted to get one of these barcodes from them, they effectively have 3 tiers, so it's a bit similar to what your music distributors offer. And the first one is called Starter 10, second one is called Starter 100, and the last one is called Standard Membership. So what they actually describe here, the Starter 10 is for businesses with a turnover of up to £100,000 and 1 to 10 products which are unlikely to grow. Okay, so that probably would apply to one of you independent artists, okay, because probably I'm assuming that most of you will not be making an annual turnover of up to 100,000, well, more than rather £100,000. Starter 100 is for businesses with a turnover of up to £500,000 and who have a range of products who are looking to grow. And then Standard Membership is for all businesses. So as you can see here, in the Starter 10 package you get global trade items numbers of 10, barcode image credits 10, global location numbers 10, and so on. And this grows to 100 in the case of Starter 100, and it grows to starts from 1,000 when it comes to the Standard Membership for all businesses. But of course, here we are talking about big, massive corporations, because this is effectively for any business whatsoever. This just all these barcodes, they basically cover any business that sells any product. And as you can see, when it comes to pricing, you can see here that they will charge £50 per year for this lowest tier, and this is an annual subscription. So actually this is excluding VAT, so I think with VAT that will come down to £60 per year. So you need to figure this out for yourself, because for example, if you are only going to make a profit, for example, of £70 from selling your CDs, then of course it doesn't make much sense to then dish out £60 for an annual subscription just to have a barcode, because that's not going to make any difference to you, because you're not going to top the charts, physical charts, with that amount of sold CDs. At the same time, you're gonna be forking out, paying £60 per year. It doesn't really make any sense. If you were selling a significant amount and maybe you went into sort of maybe hundreds or even thousands of pounds per year, fantastic. I think at that point I'd recommend it, because you might as well enter those charts, and it puts you in a better standings and that kind of thing. For that £60 per year, you pay that £60 subscription, you're making say £2,000, £3,000 a year. That would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't say if you make up to £100 per year from selling your CDs, probably doesn't make much sense to be spending 60%, for example, of that profit just on a barcode, so you can have a barcode on your product. So you need to think about it like a business a little bit, because if you are a big company, if you are a supermarket, whoever like that, selling masses and masses and masses and masses amount of products, of course that subscription is nothing. It's like a drop in the ocean for you, because your turnover is amazingly high. When we are talking about just one single person or a band, even that kind of thing, an independent artist, chances are your turnover might not be as big. So you need to just ask yourself that question. But again, obviously that is up to you whether you decide to do it. But for now, for me, for this video, it was just to explain you cannot get a UPC or an EAN code from a PRO or from an organization such as PPL. You can get it from your distributor, music distributor, which is included in your subscription fee. But like I said before, you won't be able to have a barcode. They will not give you a barcode. So in order to have a barcode with that number, you'd need to go to GS1 and pay this annual subscription, and that way you can have that barcode basically generated for you. But obviously that means you have to pay year after year after year to have it maintained, to have it there. So thanks very much for watching the video today. I hope that it's helpful. And please let me know in the comments if you have any other questions whatsoever on this subject, or you would like me to expand on anything that I've said today. I would be more than happy to do so. Until then, have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video.